Hey girls, Maria Menounos here, author of the Every Girl's Guide to Life. Want to know my best tips and secrets for organization, travel, weight loss, beauty, fashion, and everything else in between? Go to bing.com/Maria and pick up my new book, The Every Girl's Guide to Life.
You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, King Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Nurse Jackie. Tonight's host is DJ Jesse Janity. Joining Jesse will be AfterBuzz co-host David Schifolitti. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Nurse Jackie news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, DJ Jesse Janity.
Yo, what up, AfterBuzzers? It's your boy DJ Jesse Janity, and we're here in the studio with Mr. David. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
What's up?
Great episode of Nurse Jackie tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait for next week, but I gotta say today did justice for me. The name of the episode.
What was it?
Was well. Could you guess what it was?
I don't. Wait. Let me think. Batting practice.
Yeah, batting cages.
Really?
Wait, does it say it right?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Yeah, batting cages. Yes.
Wow, I'm so smart.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was batting practice.
Ah, look at that.
Yes.
I'm a genius.
You are. So, batting practice.
That's
yes.
the first thing I wrote down here. Was batting practice.
As well. I mean, the theme started off early in the morning. Kevin woke up and Jackie wakes up to be like, "Hey, where are you going?
He's sneaking out.
What are you doing?"
To meet with his lady.
So we think. When really he met with Jackie's lady.
Jackie's lady. Eddie.
Miss Eddie. So yeah, Kevin gets up. He said, I wanted to get some practice in.
Some batting practice in before the day starts, which, it's normal.
I guess. So are you a basketball?
Yep,
MLB?
I'm a basketball player, so I go to batting practice early in the morning.
Are you a part of the MLB?
The Man's League of Baseball?
Yes.
What does MLB stand for?
Major League Baseball.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Sorry.
It was Pride weekend. David's just all over the place.
That has nothing to do with anything.
Just leave that out of this.
Leave that out of this.
So, anyways, here we are talking about Nurse Jackie.
Yes.
One of the 10 commandments here at AfterBuzz: stay on
topic.
All right, so here we
It's
go.
the first one, actually.
Yes.
Thou shalt stay on topic.
Bum, bum, bum. So, okay.
Back to topic.
Back to topic.
Kevin.
So Kevin is at the batting cages, swinging out of
swinging. He's like beating the hell out of the balls that are flying at him.
And Eddie's there randomly.
We invited him.
He invited him, but it was random for us to see.
Oh yeah, for us it was really random that he just. I mean, I wonder how early it was that he called. I wonder if he told Eddie the night before. He was like, "Hey, meet me. The batting cages at 4:00 in the morning," or.
Yeah, that's
because it was early. Because it was dark, like really dark.
Well, it was 6:17 when he left. That's what the clock said.
Oh, there was a clock.
Because I was like, Jackie looked like she was like in the middle of sleeping, and he said, get the kids ready for school. And I was like, well, school usually starts at 7, so.
Does it?
I mean, where I'm from, it does.
I don't remember. It's been so long.
It's been so long. So, whatever. He's at the cages, and he's just swinging, angry, talking about he's so furious.
Angry batting practice.
Yeah, he's talking about how
Angry.
furious he is. He can't even look at Jackie anymore. He has so much to say to her and doesn't know how to say it. And, Eddie's like, well, isn't that what marriage is all about?
Ignoring the person that you're married to is how you make it last, is his advice.
Yeah, and he asked him, well, hey, what's going on with you guys? And then he turned to him with the evil eye and was like, I thought you were going to turn it up and start watching it.
Turning it off because it's distracting me.
We have Sex in the City.
Sex and the City was playing on the TV. I couldn't stop watching it.
So, Karen, or Carrie, no.
Carrie.
So then Eddie, he turns to Eddie and he says, you know what I'm talking about.
He says, you see my wife every day.
Yes.
And Eddie's like, you do too.
Right.
And he goes, but you know what I'm talking about.
Awkward.
Super awkward. I think, personally, that he knows about
Well, okay,
Eddie
how
and
would
Jackie.
he find that out?
I don't know. I mean, because we haven't heard from his sister in a while. We haven't heard about her in a really long time.
Yeah, she just
So
disappeared.
she sort of disappeared, so I think she's out of the picture. Maybe she figured it out, and maybe she told him.
I don't know.
Or maybe thinks like he's connecting the dots on his own.
Well,
it's very
actually,
possible.
You know who I'm also thinking about is Dr. O'Hara. Because do you remember...
Talking to Kevin?
Or something. Because remember when O'Hara went to Gloria and said, what's going on with Jackie? It was nothing that I said, was it?
Yeah,
And
last week.
And Gloria said, no, this has nothing to do with what you said.
Maybe it was Kevin.
Can they have affairs within the office or maybe something along that lines? I don't know. Because she mentioned that and we never heard anything else about that.
Right.
So that was kind of just a curious. And it probably isn't, but that thought stuck in my head because I didn't understand what she was talking about going to Gloria, saying it was nothing that I said.
Right.
So.
Interesting thought.
Yes. So that leaves us through this whole episode. It leaves Eddie very tense throughout the episode, just curious as to what's going on.
Yeah, he was gritting his teeth.
Yeah,
he was very on edge.
He went up to Jackie and was like, I think Kevin knows. And Jackie was really calm about it. She didn't flinch. She didn't budge. She
did take a whole bottle of her daughter's pills.
You think that was
before.
in reference to that? To the whole Eddie and Kevin situation? I think she just wanted that.
No, I think... No. I don't think that had anything to do with it, but I think that caused her reaction. I don't think she was really feeling anything because she took all those pills.
Well, she was pretty clear-headed and being like, there's no way he could know, like, it's probably something else. But she, actually, okay, I could agree with you in the sense because he did say it didn't look like he wanted to renew his vows.
Right,
like,
and
that's a serious thing to say.
That's a serious thing to say. Also, he's confronted her about her addiction before.
Right.
So it doesn't. I don't think it has anything to do with that because he doesn't have a problem talking to her about that. Clearly, well, I mean, maybe he does. I don't.
Because it could get to it could be at the point of like, we've gone through this so many times now. The last time he talked to her about it, she showed him the 30-day.
the chip, 30-day sober chip. Yeah.
So
I remember
that was supposed to be like proof or something. Maybe he found out about the drug dealer. Maybe he found out
about the drug dealer.
So, there's a lot of things we got going on. They're playing with us.
They are. Or maybe he found the patches.
Oh, yes.
Because the patches came up again today.
They did. Yes, which we'll get to the patches later on because that was really a juicy story right there. So, okay. We know that we have this hanging over our heads.
Yes.
Cut to the scene of Jackie back at the house taking care of the kids, just showing us like it's funny because at work she's looked at as the mother at work,
right?
But at home she can't even take care of her. It's hard for her to take care of her kids. Like the fact that she was like, we're gonna be late, she's rushing them, she's trying to get the knots out of her hair. A mother would have sat there and got the knots out of the hair, but she's on edge all the time.
Well, I think it has to do with the fact that she does go to work early,
right?
Normally, because Kevin had asked her before he left that she was in late today, so she could take the kids to school. So I think it has to do with the fact that she's normally not there in the morning.
But this is like,
and so it's it's like new territory to her. Sort of.
New territory.
I mean, the fact that she doesn't know that the clock is set 10 minutes ahead.
But we've seen that in the past couple episodes. We've seen little things like that where she doesn't know. We see how strong the connection is between the two daughters and the husband.
Right.
And Jackie's just so disconnected from everything. She doesn't know the little things that you should know.
Right.
So to me, that was the writers showing us once again the disconnection between them.
Right. Like she sort of doesn't belong.
Right. And then right after that disconnection, Grace offers her sister, "Oh, you need to take your vitamin." And she pours all the vitamins.
She pours them all out on the table.
And Jackie's just sitting there like mouth-watering, fiending, like, "Ooh, those vitamins remind me of some Vicodin," or...
You know, I don't think it had to do with that.
No?
No.
Why not?
I think it had more to do with the fact that she didn't, like being a mother again. I think it had to do with the fact that she is so unaware of the girls' morning rituals because she's never there that she's realizing that she hasn't been a mother. And that Grace is even more of a mother to her younger sister than she is. Because she got so fed up with the younger daughter whose name I don't think we've...
It was like D, or she called her D in it. So
anyway, so she got so frustrated with like trying to brush out the knots in her hair that she like gave up and was like, "You brush them out then."
And I totally agree with that part of it, but at the end she mentioned, and that totally could be half of it, but the way the camera's just focused in on each of the girls, like putting the pill in her mouth and Jackie just staring at each one doing it, they crunched down on the pill, and then Grace offered her mother one, and she said, "No, those are for you."
Or maybe it has to do with the fact that she's been on probation and can't administer medication.
Oh.
Because the scene right after she does walk into Gloria's office and asks about, is her probation over?
Right.
Yeah.
And which is interesting also because I was like, remember we've spoken about how long is in between each episode?
Yeah.
How much time goes by? And it was 2 weeks from last episode.
2 weeks from last episode, and Coop talks about later on in the episode how he's been dating this girl for 3 weeks. But
which doesn't kind of tie up. Because he's been planning this wedding for the past 2 episodes.
Right, and he started dating her the episode before that. So 3 episodes ago was like a full week.
Okay. So
and then between last episode and this one was 2.
2 weeks. Okay, so they're jumping around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jackie went into... Well, let's go through the fluff since you brought up Eddie.
The
Coop.
floof.
The floof. So Coop is planning this extravagant wedding.
Extravagant? It's at the hospital.
It's at the hospital, but to him, in his mind, this is like epic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He talks to Thor, and who they actually won the fantasy football.
Yeah.
Because of Thor.
Who knew Thor was such a sports fanatic?
I don't think Cooper even knew that he was such a sports fanatic. He won him all this money and wanted to be his best man. But in Cooper's mind, he wanted Eddie to be the best man. Now,
I think he wanted Eddie to be the best man for more like aesthetic reasons.
What do you mean?
Because Thor is bigger. A bigger lady.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think Coop thinks like that.
I was thinking totally different.
Really? What did you think?
I thought it was because he was gay that he didn't want...
His mothers are gay.
Yeah, but I felt like that was the issue. I didn't know why it was the issue, but I felt like that was the issue. Just because he was so careful of why he didn't want to say,
right,
I don't want you to be the best man. He's like, but you're going to be singing at my wedding. He's like, okay, overkill. And he has, he kind of dealt with that whole situation. And now the thing with Cooper I thought was funny was when he walked into O'Hara's.
And asks her what she's going to wear.
And she was like, I'm not going. He was like, is it because you're jealous? Which turns her to say, okay, I'm absolutely going now.
And then she goes to Barney's.
And gets all
goes on a shopping spree, which I'm so jealous about.
What do you think that situation was? Because as soon as Jackie walked in and noticed all the bags, so is that...
Well, O'Hara's upset. You can tell throughout most of the episode there was something on her mind.
A few past episodes.
For the past few episodes, there's been something on her mind, and clearly it's Jackie's well-being. But I think her shopping spree had more to do with the fact that she's trying to prove that she's above this wedding.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. Cooper also pulls Jackie into the chapel and shows where everybody will be standing.
And again, he says the mannequins will be back, so it'll look better. See, that's why I think about Thor, because he's very about aesthetics.
Okay.
You can ignore me.
No, I'm with that. Now that you said the mannequins, I get what you're saying. Because he did also say, and Thor will be over here.
Yes.
And
see?
And he was like, or maybe... Well, but then he stood up on a thing
Mm-hmm.
and was like, or maybe here. So I don't know. But he is very particular about everything. Where he asked Jackie to be the
wedding coordinator.
Yes, which is like, you're kind of doing it yourself.
He is. He's planning the whole thing alone, and we still have not
seen Cricket.
His fiance.
Which is also funny because he pointed where everybody else was going to be in this wedding.
For her.
Yeah. What do you think he's really thinking? Do we really think a
have
wedding
no
is going to
idea.
come into play with this? Or do we think he's really going to pull something together in which he just needs everybody together? Or
Well, do you think he's actually getting married?
I don't think so.
Or he's just doing this for attention?
I think it's an attention thing. Because that really stood out to me, the fact that he didn't say where she was going to stand or where the priest was going to stand.
Right.
Everything was about all the people who he cares about and where they would be standing. And he got Jackie involved because, like he said, everybody will do it if you're involved.
Right, because everyone's afraid of her.
Right. So, I don't know what Coop has up
Wedding's a sham.
Yeah, I don't know what he has up his little sleeve of his, especially with the money situation going on.
What do you mean? What about money?
Well, he got that fantasy football
the fantasy
money.
football money. He's paying for the mannequins.
Oh, yeah.
And the wedding.
Who last week Grace was upset because... Or not last week, the week before she was upset because the mannequins were taken out of the chapel. And last week she conned him into buying the mannequins
Not
back.
Grace, Gloria.
Gloria, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This week Gloria was upset again because she tried to start this charity situation with the First Lady about losing weight.
Well, I guess that must be one of Michelle Obama's campaigns, like childhood obesity.
Yes, who she's on like a tour with Beyonce doing.
Literally?
Yes.
Like for real?
Like Beyonce goes to all the schools and she has what was that song called that Beyonce used to do? Pat Yo Weaves Lady.
Pat Yo Weaves Lady.
Why you check up on it? Well, whatever song that is, she did a remake to it, and it's like all about dancing, and it's about getting kids to get up and move and
be
dance.
healthy.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to go to that.
Oh, it looks fun. You can YouTube it. Very much recommend it. So that would have been cool if Beyonce came on Nurse Jackie and got everybody doing a little situation there. But unfortunately, the First Lady chose another hospital to visit, and
and Gloria gets stuck with 6 little fat kids.
Which I loved in this episode.
They were fantastic. They were the best part of the episode, I think.
They were, and she was. Her whole dynamic.
Yeah, her whole storyline was great.
The first time she tries to teach them how to,
choose healthy snacks
over candy.
Yes.
So she says, my favorite are raisins. Because when you eat them all, and she literally shoved the whole box of raisins down her throat. I've never seen anybody do this. Did you ever know that you could do this? Then she put the box of raisins in her mouth and started blowing in it like a kazoo. And
I thought she was gonna eat the box when she put it up to her mouth. I was like, why is she eating the box?
It's recyclable and healthy for you. Good fiber.
Good fiber.
So yeah, She blows a little kazoo in there. The kids are like, what?
Look at her like she's crazy.
When she is crazy.
She's completely nuts.
It was interesting to see that the box of raisins could do that. And next time I do have a box of raisins, I probably
You're gonna
will.
do that?
I probably will try it.
You should buy a big box of raisins, though, not the mini ones. And do it with the big box and see if it does the same thing.
My mouth doesn't open that wide.
It's not that big.
Oh, the longer boxes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to go to Trader Joe's for that. So, okay, then we came to Gloria. Just marching these kids around. She lost two of them.
She lost 2 kids.
Who, end up going to this party which Zoe created, who I felt so bad for Zoe through this episode because all she wanted was to
Have a little fun.
have a little fun, get everybody together, show how much she appreciates everyone. It was Nurse Appreciation Week.
Yes, it was. Which
Which
I've never heard of.
I have heard of
before.
it.
You have?
Secretary Appreciation Day. I've heard
Day, not a
days.
week.
I've never heard a week before. Yeah, Nurse Appreciation Day.
I've
No,
never heard of that.
I think it is a week, actually.
I don't think it exists.
They go to like Six Flags.
I mean, the nurses don't take a week off of like the hospital.
Well, that's the other thing
To
with
go
these,
tanning.
with these whole days. Like the secretaries don't get the day off; they end up still having to work. But
Yeah.
people bring them like little boxes of chocolates or whatever. I guess it's nice just to recognize it. And Zoe put a lot of time.
When are we gonna have Host Appreciation Day?
We will have that. Unfortunately, it's on Wednesdays.
Not on Tuesdays. I'll make a special appearance if there's chocolate.
You food whore. So Zoe puts a lot of time into this, and she, makes little invitations, and everyone's just shutting her
I
down.
know, it was
left and
really
right.
cute.
It was, and just God bless Thor, because Thor cared.
Thor
And,
does care.
He wants to, I'll make an appearance. So as we see, she sets up. She reserved a room in the basement.
She reserved a room in the basement and then subsequently said just because it's a party in the basement doesn't mean it's going to suck.
Which it totally did suck.
It did. I felt so bad. Nobody showed up.
Nobody showed up. A lot of thought went into it. She had the little nurse.
She had the cutest balloons that were
Yes.
the little smiley face balloons with like nurse hats on them. It was adorable. She had syringes filled with Jello.
Yeah, well, it's funny because when the first shot they show of it, she's standing in front of this little table, and I thought that's all she did when she put the candy in her mouth and she. I was like, oh girl, you set up one table with some streamers.
One table with a bowl of Chex Mix and some M&Ms.
And then across from it, she has like this elaborate with the Jello
Cupcakes
shots
and the Jello shots. Oh my God, that's so cute.
Yeah, I know.
A syringe filled with Jello.
Yeah,
A Jello
it was-
shot. I'm jealous.
The
I want to
effort
do
that was
that.
put into that, like, you go, girl.
Thor came though.
Lenny came first.
Oh yeah, Lenny came. And had no idea what was going on.
No, had no idea what was going on.
He thought she was celebrating their anniversary.
Yes, and he was glad that she's not one of those chicks that celebrates every little thing.
Even though she's celebrating Nurse Appreciation Week.
Well, okay,
Which he has no idea.
but I could
about.
see her not wanting to celebrate like our week anniversary, our month anniversary. I could see her not being one of those like to not celebrate that. But this is important to her because she works with these people every day, and she wanted to just give something back. And I got where she was coming from with that. Which kind of upset me with Jackie because Jackie's been more open with Zoe, and for her to have shut her down and like knowing the type of person Zoe is, she's gonna like do something elaborate.
Yeah, and I felt that Jackie and Zoe were friends, or at least friendly with each other.
Well, I
which
guess
surprised me.
Erin said during the first
That they didn't
season,
get along.
They didn't get along.
Right.
But now it kind of seems like she's a little motherly towards Zoe.
She does take care of her, and they talk about things, but I mean, I guess she was hesitant that one time that Zoe wanted to go to lunch together.
Right. And then also, you saw how desperate Zoe was for Jackie to be there when O'Hara had came down and was like, "Where's Jackie?"
That's true. Everyone wants Jackie to be around because they know that if Jackie's there, she's the ringleader. People will come.
Which is crazy because I don't feel Jackie thinks that about herself.
No, but I think she does realize that she holds a lot of power.
Yeah.
She's like head honcho.
So Lenny comes down, eats her food, and leaves, bounces. And all of a sudden, bounces on out of there.
Yes,
Thor
that
comes
word
down
anymore.
and loves the acoustics because it's an empty room, and he can practice for
His wedding
Cooper's
song,
wedding.
and he starts singing Ave Maria, which was amazing.
It was amazing.
Amazing. I'm gonna hire him to sing at my wedding.
And all of a sudden, a cop comes down, and
Have you
gives-
ever seen this cop?
Never.
He came out of nowhere, right?
I don't know. It was really random. Which she probably felt the same way because she acted like she never knew who he was either. Which makes me think, why didn't you at least ask what his name was?
Yeah, but he must know her. Like, why would he bring her flowers specifically? He must like be like one of the cops. Maybe he comes like when I lost my pen. Maybe he comes when like earlier in the day they had the cab driver who hit the pedestrian.
Right. Okay. So then maybe they've seen each other.
You know,
around.
maybe they have to have seen each other around
Well,
the
he's
hospital
seen
at some
her
point.
because he knew to bring flowers to her.
Right.
And he said, "Oh, my mother's a nurse. I have other
My sisters.
my sister. I just wanted to show you appreciation. And you also look really good in them jeans."
In those jeans. Which is awesome. She like lifted her leg up to show him the jeans. It was a very awesome
That was
moment.
gross.
It was a great moment. Don't pretend like you don't do stuff like that.
Well, it's funny because when David walked in, he was like, "Jesse, I love those jeans," and I actually did a full 360
Oh, these
and I
jeans?
touched my toes.
Touched your toe.
Okay. And so here we go with the delirium.
Scene.
Yes, so now let's get into Jackie because this was where
Okay.
the whole shebang
This is where the meat lives.
The-
The meat of the episode.
meat of the episode was layered in Jackie. So Jackie actually... Jackie. At the top of the episode, she takes all of Gracie's pills.
She takes the whole bottle all at once and chews them
was
like
so quick,
they were
like-
a cracker.
Did she chew them?
She chewed them.
Swallowed them really
No,
quick.
she chewed them.
She chewed them.
I watched her crunch on those pills.
I mean, Jackie has some
Issues.
real desperate moments, and this was one of them. Like your daughter's medication. Just say that and like think of how bad that sounds.
It's
to yourself.
awful.
I'm taking my daughter's medication.
I'm taking my daughter's medication. It's horrible.
I can't even.
Why
say
doesn't Grace have them with her?
it. Well, that would be kind of questionable if she's going to school with a bottle of medication.
Well, that's what she needed the medication for to begin with, because she's got anxiety.
Well, in most schools, usually you give the medication to the
To
school
the nurse, and then the nurse administers it. That makes more sense.
Yeah, so that was funny business. But Jackie goes to O'Hara and says, "I need you to refill this." O'Hara says if she's already done, she's taking too many. And Jackie, I was surprised Jackie was honest. I'm glad she was honest.
Jackie was not honest.
In that moment, she was.
No, she said she's not taking too many.
No, she said her daughter's not taking too many,
Oh, yeah.
which means Jackie had
am.
taken it.
That's right.
And that's where O'Hara started feeling like, oh, God, like, what? Which later on in the episode, when Jackie came back to O'Hara, she was nervous, like, did she do it? Did she not do it?
Making sense.
Oh, I thought that was, I was like, what, Dave?
Usually, that's not what you think it means.
No, connecting the wires.
Yeah.
Before we get to the part of her going back to O'Hara,
Uh-huh.
I like the scene of Jackie and Kelly with the guy who had chest trauma.
From the car accident, from
Yeah.
hitting somebody. And she puts in a chest tube.
She put in a chest tube, and she couldn't administer anything. And I thought it was interesting that out of everybody, she told Kelly first.
I know. It was very...
Like, she said it with such ease.
She did. She did, like, come out after 2 weeks, no one knows, and tells Kelly, of all people.
Maybe because he's new and she doesn't feel she
No,
has...
because she doesn't like him. Like, I don't understand why she would tell him. Like, I mean, if there's someone in your life that you don't like, you don't divulge privileged information. I guess, if you want to put it that way.
And she could have even like covered it up a little bit in the sense of, oh, I can't administer, but she was like, I'm on probation. Like, you gave a little.
Yeah,
too much
she like went into
information,
detail. Well, I mean, not really, but
enough
where he would know why she was on probation.
And it's funny because now that I'm thinking about it, they're almost the same person.
Kelly and Jackie?
Hear me out.
Okay. Because I don't know where you're going with this.
Okay. So we go into this hospital. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all B characters. They're all kind of mutual. Until you get, we have Cooper and who's matched with O'Hara because they're both the doctors.
Okay.
So now when we look at Kelly and we look at Jackie, Kelly's new. Kelly's focused on work. Everybody likes Kelly because the person that Kelly is, and also they in quotes, and they also like him because of his work ethics, which is the same reason why they like Jackie. They like Jackie because she gets shit done, and they like her because of her work ethics.
Okay.
Now, as Jackie's looking at it, and why most people get into confrontations or feel ways about others, it's usually because they find something similar about themselves in that person. And at first we noticed it was because Jackie seemed a little envious of the fact that everybody wanted to be around Kelly. Being the fact that she probably felt she could talk to him because he's not in her business. He's never trying to be in her business like everybody else is. And she knows him as he's always there on the job. He's always doing what he's got to do. He's in the same worth ethic as her.
Okay.
Are you understanding where I'm going?
I do. I feel like it is a bit of a stretch.
It is a bit of a stretch.
But
I'm
do see where you're going with it, as like they are very similar when it comes to work, and they do have very similar work ethics, and
they both keep to themselves.
And they both do keep to themselves. Yes. But Kelly does talk a lot about his personal life to the other nurses, and he does divulge information to them, and he talks to them about like all the other hospitals he's been at and how he went to Haiti.
But there's still something about him that we've always said, there's something underneath all of that.
Yeah.
Which is the same as Jackie. We all know about Jackie. Jackie has a family. Jackie, is a great person, and she tries to help people. But there's still something about Jackie. There isn't anything about Zoe, I'm wondering. There isn't anything about Lenny. There isn't anything about
That's
Thor.
true. There is all the other characters, everything's out on the table about them.
O'Hara is the only one where I kind of am starting to feel like, okay, what are we missing here?
Right. I do agree with that too.
So I think that's why, and which is funny because O'Hara's the other person Jackie talks to.
Right, but O'Hara's stuff was put out on the table today, I think. I think later on when Jackie goes back to talk to her, I think that's what's going on.
Though.
Do you?
I definitely think that's a big part of it.
Okay.
I do think that there's something else, which we'll get to in a second. But
okay.
I love that. I love that part of them just making that bond, and then him wanting to go out with her after work.
Later on, when he talks about how it was a rush in the ER earlier in the morning, and he's like, "We should go out and celebrate." Yeah.
It was in the bathroom, and then Kevin calls Jackie, and she ignores him, and she does this all the time. And I've mentioned this before, how much it pisses me off, because it's like
she always ignores his calls. Always.
What do you expect? Like, you've done wrong, and if you're gonna mess up with the big things in a relationship or in life, why not put together those small things? Why not take the extra step of just picking up? And he said, call me. Just pick up the phone and, hey, what's going on? It's not going to be a serious topic. You're at work.
Right. I mean, maybe she just wants to avoid it.
Well,
she does a lot of avoiding when it comes to him.
Right. And it's just getting to the point which I don't want to get to preview, but we saw next week that Kevin's just fed up.
Don't talk about it yet.
Yeah. So what happened after that?
Well, after the ER, there's another patient that comes in who complains about not being able to stop coughing.
Which is so ridiculous.
I mean, people go to the ER for the craziest things. Let's not deny that fact. But to go to the ER because you can't stop coughing.
Now, did you think that was
little
real,
excessive.
or did you think she was because
The patient?
when Jackie said, "Well, you stopped coughing now,"
At that point, I felt that she was faking it
Right.
and just wanted medication. But later on, when they go back to that patient and Jackie's talking to her, and the patient just says that she just doesn't want to get sick, and Jackie's like, clearly she's helping her by telling her not to take the codeine that's prescribed to her and to get out of the hospital, because if she stays in the hospital, she is going to get sick.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, clearly Jackie wants her pills because she took them
Right.
for herself. And then that's when she goes to the bathroom to take the medication, and then Kelly followed her in.
I mean, Jackie, girl, like, and don't they
She's
have,
stealing medicine from everybody.
and don't they have cameras in the hospital?
No.
What? There's no cameras in the hospital?
Why would there be cameras in a hospital?
Why wouldn't there be cameras in the hospital? Like, if there are babies there, they could be, things could happen.
Stolen?
Oh my God.
People are stealing babies from hospitals.
That's really like a serious.
No!
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah.
That's so serious. Like
no
people want
one's
children.
ever stolen a child from a hospital.
Dave.
I have never heard of that in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
You need to look this up. They have
I'm going
bracelets and
to.
everything for the babies.
Well, yeah, because they're patients.
No. Bracelets as far as like being pulled out of the hospital and an alarm goes off.
No, they don't.
David, I'm really serious. I learned all of this stuff when my friend, she had a baby, and
They have like a monitor on the baby.
because there are some crazy people out there who just want a baby, and
And they're like running into the
okay,
hospital.
this is your homework. for
Okay,
next
I
week.
will find out if not about the babies, but I will find out. I believe you about the babies, even though I think that's crazy. But I will find out if there's cameras in hospitals. Well, I don't think there are. I think in waiting rooms in hospitals there might be.
Oh, we need to get some cameras in there because look at the funny business that can.
Well, yeah,
happen.
that's true. I mean, if people are going crazy with the medicine,
I mean, and Jackie was just so bold of it, of just like.
why don't you just stuck it in her pocket?
All right, so
But I mean, that could also be a normal thing that a nurse would do.
put it in her pocket, absolutely.
Just stick it in your pocket.
But I mean,
If there are cameras and anyone is watching them and they know that Jackie's on probation because they think somebody is abusing prescription meds, which they are, she would clearly be in trouble.
and she is in trouble, and she goes back to O'Hara, and like we said, she kind of acted nervous to see if O'Hara did refill it or not. O'Hara did refill it. She said, "I refilled them for Grace, and I want to help you."
I missed all those subtleties with her, and
Really?
I missed everything. It went right over my head.
O'Hara said, I want to pay for rehab, even though I don't think rehab works. I want to drive you to the meetings, even though I don't think you'll really listen to them. I want to send you to these places to get help, even though I don't think you'll really go.
Right.
And she offers, so I want to prescribe you methadone.
She said that she wants to prescribe her something that's going to help her get better. And then she said, consider me a fancy methadone clinic. So that's why I think she's prescribing methadone, even though people don't really use methadone to help addicts anymore because methadone's addictive. So I don't know if she's actually prescribing that, but that's the assumption that I am under, that she's prescribing methadone to her, which I think is a little extreme for an addict of Valium.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of getting to the point of Jackie's being a little ridiculous.
Well, Jackie's on edge, but Jackie does accept in her own way. She does say, like, thank you, and gets a little teary-eyed.
No, yeah.
About the fact that O'Hara wants to help her get better. She wants her to be sober.
Well, because in the end, Jackie, I believe, doesn't want to be this person. But she gets so much joy out of it, and it's kind of like you have the same tapes playing in your head over and over and over again for years and years. That's all you ever really know. So,
It's time to upgrade to a DVD player.
sister. And O'Hara,
Especially if you've got a VHS in your head.
O'Hara is offering that DVD player.
She is.
Blu-ray,
She
motherfucker.
is offering a Blu-ray player, girl. It's not a Laserdisc.
So yeah, that was a touching scene between Jackie and her.
Yeah.
Again, they still have not touched what O'Hara is.
What's
really
actually bothering her? I think it's that. I think it's she doesn't know how to handle Jackie anymore, and she knows that she's not better. Jackie just has too much temptation in her life. I mean, I feel like if she ever is going to decide to be sober, she's going to have to leave the hospital.
Also, something else is because she recently just, when they went for their walk together,
Mhm.
that's when Jackie really opened up to O'Hara and, like, kind of told her, like, you know, I've been trying to be clean and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. But she lied about how long she had been.
Right. But O'Hara didn't know that at the moment.
Right.
4 episodes ago.
4 episodes ago. Okay.
Well, just if you can remember the scenery. O'Hara was in the room and she got pushed.
Yes.
And it really affected her in a whole nother way.
That's right.
You know, like, it was like she was going through between, like, we thought she might have something with Eddie. We thought she might have something.
With Coop.
Well, no, yeah, the whole Coop thing was just. It kind of showed her desperation as far as, like.
Well, maybe she's starting to realize that she's getting older.
Right.
And her biological clock is ticking.
So I'd like them to touch on something like that because I'd like to know a little more about O'Hara in that sense of it.
But she is, as you called her, a B character.
Yes. Even though I want her to be an A.
You want her to be an A.
An A+.
But she can't because the show's called Nurse Jackie. Not Dr. O'Hara.
It'd be so much sexier if it was called Dr. O'Hara.
It would.
Well, and Dr. O'Hara is the stand-up character. As she went down to Zoe's party, and you know, she actually looked like she was more excited than anybody else.
I know. She was like, "This is awesome."
And it was funny because all the kids who Gloria was watching over ended up making it down there, which is such an oxymoron within itself.
It was great.
But
they did learn something from their day with Gloria.
Yes.
To pace themselves.
That little boy, the little pudgy boy.
That's awesome.
And they tricked him because they tried to feed him another cupcake, and he was like, "No, my mom said only have one and pace myself." Adorable.
So great. So great. And then we did learn a little something about Zoe. She's a compulsive eater.
Yes.
She talks about how she used to hide cake under her bed because her mother didn't believe in seconds. And so you have to what did she say? You have to give them the option, otherwise they're going to hide it. And I don't know, something like that.
No, yeah, and that makes sense too.
It does make sense. I hide cake under my bed to this day.
It's funny also because every episode we see Zoe eating.
We do. That's what I'm saying. She's a compulsive eater.
Huh. So after that, Jackie took Kelly's invitation and went out to the bar with him.
To what looked like an open mic night. With a comedian who actually made sort of okay funny jokes. Not really. Maybe not. They kind of sucked.
It's just the thing about open mics that I've done open mics before. And
oh, have you?
Yes. And
as a comedian.
The thing about them it's just not the place to do
not.
that.
No, it's not. No one wants to go to a bar and walk into open mic night.
Right.
It's awful.
And if you do it, like, the mentality I used to have was, okay, I can look at, like, the 4 people who are sitting right in front of me and focus.
6 p.m.
You know what I mean? Like, and they're really the only ones who are listening because they're there to see the open mic show. Everyone else is drinking, talking, enjoying themselves. Focus on these people, and you're not expecting laughs. You're just testing yourself out, and you're just enjoying yourself. This one was really, like, taking shit serious.
I know.
Like,
she was, like, offended that no one was paying attention to her crappy jokes.
I'm like, girl, you're in a dive bar. Like,
I thought it was interesting that Jackie actually accepted Kelly's invitation and went out with him.
Well, it got to the point where he said, "I'll give you some dirt on me."
That's and he did.
Mm-hmm. Which we find out.
And we did. We find out that.
Wait, when did he tell her about the whole Pat situation?
In the bathroom. He told her that he thinks it was he told HR, but that he didn't give names.
So that's why I believe she took the invitation, because it was almost like, wait a minute, what happened? You want to find out the whole story and
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess she, yeah.
kind of get on the same
I'll
boat
go with
the
that.
guy.
Get on the same page with him and see like what he actually knows. Maybe like, yeah, okay, I'm there.
So then with that, she
admits to
taking 4
have
patches.
taken 4 patches.
He laughed it off and said, I took 6 and I've never been to Haiti.
So I
Which-
think they're like they just formed a bond and they
Yeah.
are like frenzies now.
Which sucks because we only
Why
have
does that
one more
suck?
episode
Oh yeah,
left.
we only have one more episode.
So I don't think, and there's so much that they have to get through in this one episode.
A lot. They need
have
to
to
have
get
like a
through-
special episode that's an hour long.
Yeah.
They need the wedding, which won't happen.
Well, wait, we'll save that for
Yeah.
predictions. So actually with that, let's just head over to our commercial break and we will come
Okay.
back with predictions.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig! The wig will come out. That wig.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
That ended strangely.
Damn.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Got so excited for predictions.
You did. You cut off the commercial break a
let's just get to
second
this
too
jam.
early. Okay, predictions.
So like we said, we have so much to get to next week alone without even seeing the previews. We have a wedding to get to.
There's a lot of things that they need to wrap up before the season ends. I mean, they don't have to wrap up if they don't want to, but it would be nice for the viewers.
Right, and the things they showed us in the preview weren't even any of the things that I was thinking about.
Well, it wasn't really anything. I guess it was. Well, what did we see in the previews? We saw
We saw Kevin visiting the hospital.
Kevin and Jackie fighting.
Yep, we saw them fighting. Then we saw him bringing the daughters to the hospital.
Right, they were in the waiting room.
We saw like a principal type character saying one of the daughters is on, medication. The other one's starting fires.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like you're already bringing more drama. Like we have so much drama to.
I know.
to
There's
get
already so
through.
much to process that now the younger daughter's starting match fires in the bathroom, which actually sounds like fun.
Jackie is taking more pills.
Did she?
She was in the bathroom and she was taking more pills.
Okay.
Maybe that's
There's that.
Maybe that's what O'Hara prescribes her, but it
Mm.
looked like she was abusing the pills.
Well, yeah. I mean, if she prescribed methadone to her, which is what they used to use to get people off of heroin, well, then clearly she's gonna abuse it.
I mean, so okay, that's what we saw for next week. But let's talk about
That was it, really, right?
as far as the preview show.
That's all they showed us. I mean,
We didn't see a wedding.
we did not see a wedding.
We didn't see really anything between Jackie and O'Hara. We didn't see any.
Nope.
Oh, well, we did see
What?
Kevin wanted to talk about the situation. Well, I don't know what Kevin wants to talk about.
No, he just says that he has to talk to her. He said that I need to talk to you about something, or however he phrased it, and then Jackie looked crazy upset. Maybe he cheats on her.
He's mad. He's furious. with
Maybe he's
something
leaving
she
her
did. I could see that happening.
and taking the girls.
Maybe that, yeah. I could totally picture that. And then Jackie might have to move into O'Hara's giant penthouse that she just purchased.
Townhouse.
Do we think they'll get to the wedding next episode, or do you think
No.
that that'll carry into
I think they're
season
just
4?
not gonna do they're not gonna show us the wedding, and then the beginning of season 4 he'll be married.
But I feel like they're building it up.
I know they are building up this birthday wedding that if they don't show it to us, I'm going to be really pissed off. But I have a feeling that it's not going to happen.
Imagine. Oh my gosh.
What?
Coop.
Uh-huh.
Because why a birthday wedding? He feels abandoned by his mothers and feels maybe people won't come to his wedding.
But they'll come to his birthday party?
Which is what, no, or won't come to his birthday party, period. But a wedding's more important than a birthday party. And he gets Jackie involved because he knows if Jackie's involved, people will come.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's doing all of this to get people just to come to a birthday party.
Shut up. That would be crazy.
It's Cooper.
I know. That would be insane logic.
Although it was cute and it was very adult Cooper when he had the conversation with Eddie talking about
being a best man and how
I'm tired of eating alone, I just
that was very adult of him.
It was, and it was almost like he just snapped out of his character and became somebody else when he had that conversation.
That's right. We didn't even talk about that.
I really liked that moment with him. It showed a little growth.
He says he
but I mean, then at the same time, it really showed growth.
That's funny. He says he wants to move forward.
And he said that's not the worst reason for getting married. No, but I mean, then again, Britney Spears was only married for 2 days.
When?
And probably felt the same thing. Are you serious?
No, I'm not.
Oh, it was like...
I don't think it was 2 days. I think it was less.
Was it? No, I think it was 48 hours.
Her first wedding?
Yeah.
I think it was less than that.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was 36.
I think it was 47.
I'm splitting hairs.
So, I mean, I don't know where they're gonna bring us with this. I hope they.
Yes.
Do you think? All right, with Kevin and her situation, do we think it's gonna be about Eddie, or do we think it's gonna be about finding drugs?
Okay, next week, I think the episode is going to surround the storyline is going to be mainly Kevin and Jackie, for sure. The final episode, because they're going to give us a huge blowout and leave us hanging so that we'll come back and watch next season.
Let me throw this word out. Intervention. Now create...
No, that's definitely not happening.
Not even with what I said earlier about O'Hara and did anything when she went to Gloria and said, was it anything about what I said? And she also mentioned Kevin. O'Hara mentioned Kevin tonight in the office with Jackie.
I know.
Because why bring the girls to?
Because what I think is happening is he comes to the hospital to talk to her about her absence as a mother in their lives, in the kids' lives. I think he had to pick the girls up from school because the younger daughter's trying to set the place on fire. And I think he comes to tell her that he's leaving her. That is what is in my brain. And would be the most logical way to end a season to get people to come back to watch the new season.
So what do you think they're always going to have to throw a twist in there. What do we think?
What's going to be the twist? I don't know.
Where do you think they'll leave O'Hara?
Devastated and English.
So she will remain English.
She's definitely still going to be English. She's going to be an English lady. For sure, I know that. I don't know. I think maybe the wedding will come in this episode, and maybe he'll get stood up at the wedding.
I feel like he's planning on getting stood up. I honestly feel that he's getting planned on stood up. He did not mention the Cricket, and really her name was Cricket. I feel like we would have remembered if maybe that's the nickname, but he didn't mention Cricket, and I don't know. I just think it's and only reason I'm saying this is because you said he was seeking attention.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what this whole thing is about. And you're mixing your birthday, wedding together, and the fact that he specifically wanted these certain people to do certain things in his wedding.
I don't know why he wants Eddie to be his best man.
I haven't even noticed that the two of them.
They don't even really talk that much. Like, why would he want Eddie of all people? I mean, he doesn't really have any friends anyway. Really.
I don't know. I want them to get like United States of Terror crazy, and really they're planning this giant intervention of who's gonna be there. And
maybe that's what it is. Maybe the wedding is a ploy for an intervention.
Dum dum dum.
And that's why he asks her to be the wedding coordinator. Even though I don't think Coop is that deep.
I don't think so either until we saw that little piece of him, which showed growth. Alrighty, well, that's all for this episode, guys. I really can't wait for next week because that whole preview situation gave me a lot to look forward to.
It looked good.
Stay with us. In a half hour, we will be back with United States of Tara.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.